Today we'll be looking at how to use 556 effectively without using the traders for ammo, bypassing them with crafts on the workbench instead. This is not just about 556 though, there's a range of ammunition that can be accessed at level 2 workbench which simply isn't available on the traders at the moment. Players are either entirely locked out due to the hard progression blocks this wipe, or the high trader spends are making it unrealistic for many people to get them early. This is especially critical on Peacekeeper, who is only at level 2 at the time of recording of this video, but getting to level 3 would in theory require a spend of $75,000, something along the lines of 11 million rubles. Even when he does open, the vast majority of players simply won't be able to get over this hurdle to freely access M855, while the workbench already offers something better. So first I'll be showing you what's good on Workbench 2, and in particular we'll start with this one, SOST on 556. I know there's been some confusion about Mark 318 Modo SOST because this used to be a really terrible round down there with RRLP and some of the flesh damage ammos, but a couple of patches ago BSG buffed this round significantly and put it between M855 and M856A1. As you can see here, it has a penetration of 33, which means that it deals with class 3 armor and helmets completely fine, and although it won't pen through class 4 immediately, it will do after 1 or 2 hits. It's effectively the 556 equivalent of 545 PP. To make this, all you need is 2 blue gunpowders and 1 green. So that's 2 kites and 1 eagle, and it takes an hour and 40 minutes and you get 90. This isn't a lot, but this is a relatively cheap craft and it's quick to do. I'll show you how you can easily get all of the gunpowders and what to look out for in raid in a moment, but let's go through the rest of the rounds that are actually useful first. So the other one that can be quite good, depending on whether you have Jaeger 3 or not, is BCP FMJ. This is also a very cheap craft. This is decent because it's 37 pen. This one got buffed a couple of patches ago as well, and this can go into the RFB that I talked about in a previous video. This only costs 2 blues and is an hour and a half, so this is pretty easy to get. We also have LPS. If you like either the Mosin or have access to the SVD, LPS is extremely powerful as well. With 42 pen, it will actually deal with class 4 very cleanly, straight through on the first shot. This one is super cheap. This just requires FMJ ammo for the same caliber, which comes from Jaeger 1, and one of these Hawk gunpowders. It does take a little longer, up to 4 hours, but typically you're firing this at a less rapid rate, and so it usually is fine. The other one on base workbench is L191. This one is a bit more of a curiosity because you do need the P90, 2 military cables, and you can barter this with Peacekeeper 2. But this one's quite cheap as well, 1 kite and 1 hawk. Now there is one extra craft that I don't have access to right now, which is 545 PP itself, which as I said is kind of the equivalent of SOST on the 545 side. And that's because you have to complete Punisher Part 3 before you can do it. Now this will give you 180, which is pretty decent, but you need somewhere to buy PS rounds first because that's an input to the craft, as well as 1 kite gunpowder. So you really do need Prapple 3 before you can make that work. Although if you're on Punisher 3, you probably are there already. Okay, so next we need to understand where we're going to get these gunpowders from. So kite gunpowder is the easiest. This is the blue one and it is the most common. You find this in raid the most often, and this is very straightforward. You need one of these yellow pliers and you get these back after doing the craft because it's an orcs item, which is what the little blue symbol means, and then you combine it with 120 545 by 39 HP rounds, and these are available on Jaeger 1. So you can craft this right off the bat. Next in the middle we have Hawk. There are actually 2 recipes for this. One which is using an OFZ shell, which is I don't really recommend because these are quite rare, and the other one which requires one of the kites that we just saw, an eagle, which is the green one we'll come on to in a second, and a packet of matches. That will then make you 3 of these Hawk gunpowders, which isn't that bad. So you do have to look out for matches in order to do this particular one, but fortunately matches are relatively common inside filing cabinets. Eagle is the final one, and this one you need one of these red screwdrivers as an orcs item, and you need to combine this with 2 M67 hand grenades as well as 1 M18 smoke grenade. So you can buy these smoke grenades from both Jaeger and Peacekeeper, so that's not really that problematic. The issue with Eagle is getting hold of these, the M67 hand grenades. These are a Peacekeeper 3 purchase, but on Peacekeeper 2 you can barter a bunch of these at a time for a Zibbo. So if you look for Zibbos in raid, then you can make eagles. The net result of all of these 3 crafts means that you basically only need to look for matches and Zibbos in raid, and you can create any of the 3 flavors of gunpowder that you like. Which ones you want to make is going to depend on exactly which recipes you want. I'm not crafting LPS because I don't really use the Mosin, so I'm not focusing on the hawks, but I am making a lot of eagles and kites so that I can make SOST. Now, I have had quite a few players come in saying that they can't get to Workbench level 2 because it's been too difficult for them to find certain ingredients to actually upgrade the module in the first place. So one thing that you need to remember is that if you look at the wiki for how much it costs to upgrade these things, you need to double everything that it says there, because BSG basically just multiplied everything by 2, and the guys on the wiki have put a note at the top. So what you need is 12 bolts, 6 tool sets, 2 sets of master files, 4 electric drills, 6 weapons parts, and mechanic 2 with level 2 illumination as well. And usually the sticking point here is the electric drills, of which you need 4, and you basically have to decide whether you want to be able to craft ammo in the workbench first, in which case you need to put 4 into there, or you want to be able to use the lavatory so you can progress with Prepol's tasks. I've tried many of the different suggested ways to get drills, and I did finally manage to get 4, but I still haven't had enough for my lavatory, and it seems like the ways that people are getting them is either filing cabinet runs on streets, smuggler's base runs on shoreline, or customs tool areas. I myself have had the most success with the customs tool areas, and also remember that for Gunsmith Part 7 that you get 1 extra drill as well, so you actually only need to find 3 yourself. Master files also spawn quite a lot as loose loot in those tool areas too, and the other stuff you can probably find. Remember that you can craft weapon parts in the hideout, as well as making tool sets both using a craft and a barter on the traders. Okay, so now we've got the workbench, we understand gunpowder, we understand how to make the ammo that we need with the SOST, and we'll combine that with some 855 that we have left over if you were USEC to begin with. So how exactly to get the M4, which I think is probably the best weapon to use, given that there are some mods available from Skier, and you do get the highest fire rate without having to spend a crazy amount of money on Peacekeeper buying something like a G36C. Well, the first one is obviously this, which is the barter. You should be looking out for lots of computer loot anyway, because you need hard drives and DVDs to do both the MVSS backpack barter and also the day pack if you get to level 2, that's a HDD and a DVD. So you should be looking in computers a lot anyway, and also the RAM barter for hybrid 46 suppressors, which we'll come on to in a moment. And once you've got 3 CPUs and 1 CPU fan, then you can barter for this M4, which you can then modify. The other route to go down relies on Mechanic 2, which is Mechanic 2's M4 lower for 26,000 rubles. This means that you're either going to build up a gun entirely from scratch from the lower, or alternatively, you're going to find an ADAR in raid on a scav, and you're going to buy one of these lowers, and you're going to transfer the stuff over. This is the cheapest way to do it, because as you can see, this stuff only sells back to Mechanic for about 14,000 rubles, but if I transfer all the stuff over, this effectively gets me a kind of starter M4 without me having to really do much for 25k, which is what I paid for this. Let's have a quick look at the barter first, because they are slightly different on the builds based on accessibility. Now with this one, you get this AR-15 14.5 inch barrel, so this limits the certain handguards that you can use. I would always recommend starting out with one of the gas blocks, so either the RG block or the Mark 12. There is a 1 ergo difference between these two. This doesn't have an ergo modifier and this is +1, but you also have to remember that because this has a little rail on the front, you can technically add another ergo with one of these sights if you really want to. So it doesn't really matter which you choose. Now, unless you're using one of these ACOGs or the Prism specifically, then I pretty much always take off the carry handle. And then in terms of the handguards, there's only one choice really. The rest of them are not that great. Because as you can see here with the new system, we can see the ones in green that we can buy, and this also includes barters, by the way. So it's not necessarily that obvious which ones are for cash and which ones are for barter. The MOE SL, this thing, MOE SL carbine length M-lock handguard, is by far the best on ergo out of all of these, and the recoil just doesn't matter that much between them. Onto this, once you've got Peacekeeper 2, you can add the DD M-lock, or if you've got Mechanic instead, you put the Gunfighter Mod 3 on. You also have the M-lock 4.1 inch rail if you want to add something else like that, but usually when it's M-lock, I normally just stick with one of these. Pistol grips, again, it's going to depend on who you have access to. I end up usually just having some of these lying around. As you can see, I've got one of these and one of those and one of those. But the best one that you can get from Peacekeeper is this, the MIAD. And the best one you can get from Mechanic is, I think, this battle grip. So just pick whichever one is the best, or maybe the one that you have most available. From the stocks, again, this is a Peacekeeper 2 version, which is the DS150. This one is very similar to the MOE carbine. It's 1 worse recoil and 1 worse on ergo, but it's pretty good. And there's actually 2 variations as well, so you can keep with the tan theme if you want. Failing this, there is actually a relatively decent barter for these GL shocks. This one's normally a bit of a meme and is only used for gunsmith, but it's only a WD-40 for the barter, which are pretty cheap and easy to come by. And the advantage with that is you get 4 extra ergo at the expense of some recoil. So if you're running something that's quite low on ergo and you need a bit of a boost, the GL shock honestly isn't that bad. So next, let's talk about the muzzle. 5.56 doesn't really work very well with compensators on its own, which is why I've pretty much been going with the Silence & Co Hybrid 46 every single time. And that's because you can both buy this mount from Mechanic, and then the Hybrid 46 itself, you could do this RAM barter. And this is why I said that the computers were important to loot, because 4 RAM is relatively easy to come by and gets you a suppressor that isn't great on recoil, to be honest with you, but suppressing this gun is actually quite hard otherwise. There is another alternative. If you can find a VHS tape, you can put on either the War Comp or the SF3P. The SF3P is technically just slightly better on recoil, and this allows you to add either the RC2, the Monster, or the Mini Monster. And you see it comes up in green here because there is this barter for the VHS tape, which is called the Video Cassette with the Cyborg Killer movie. This is one of the streamer items, and this allows you to barter with Skier 2 for a mini monster, which is a very, very good suppressor. This one is better than the Hybrid 46 on vertical recoil. It's also better on ergo as well. It's actually the best ergonomics you can get on a 5.56 weapon using a suppressor. So that one is certainly an option, but the VHS tapes are just so rare, I tend to find myself using the hybrid. From here, all you really need to do is add on something that's going to allow you to add a laser or a flashlight of your choice. You can really pick anything, and the same goes for the optic as well. You can either just pick something like a micro dot, so you can go for something like the Delta Point, which is one that I quite like, or potentially you could go for the Monstrum instead, which is this guy, which is a relatively decent optic. Or if you have the means, you can go for something like the Night Force and maybe the TAC 30 using the Kvass barter. So this is a pretty solid build if you've come from the barter. Now, if you haven't come from the barter, you want to do it a slightly different way because there's a different barrel and that changes the handguard that you need. Everything else can remain the same, and I'm just going to push everything else together. All right, so this is kind of back to where we were before. Now, you'll see that you can't actually add this one because the barrel is too long. So you can't add the MOE SL, but you can add the other version. There's another one up here, which is the longer version, the medium length M-Lock handguard, and that is allowable on the ADAR barrel. This one is more in black, so I put the black stock on this time. And under here, you can go for the more sort of black aesthetic there too. And this gives you a very similar build, but using the ADAR barrel instead. And one of the reasons why you might want to do this is because you can't actually buy the straightforward M4 barrel right off the bat. The only one you can get is this one, which is the Shorty. And this you can either buy once we get to Peacekeeper level 3, or you can barter it for 2 broken LCDs, or 3 Marlboros and 2 Apollos. You normally only do this if you're doing Gunsmith. I think this is probably a bit much if you're just making an M4. So usually I will just end up buying the ADAR 16-inch if I need to make something from scratch. And this is how you make it from the lower as well. And with the lower, there are only 2 other little tiny micro adjustments to mention, which is you can buy the M4A1 upper, which you probably should do because it's very slightly better. And when you're buying the buffer tube rather than the ADAR one, you can go for this guy, which is the ATP. This comes from Skier, and this is very slightly better than either the carbine or the ADAR version. It's got half a recoil point improvement. If you're having to buy it anyway, you may as well buy the one that is slightly improved. So this is basically the M4 that I've been running. If you've got any 855 saved up, then that's great. Even better if you can manage to find some M856A1 in raid, or even M855A1 somewhere from rare loot spawns or something like that. That will stand you in very, very good stead. But SOST at least will pen through class 3 helmets, which is still what most people are using at the moment. And given the high fire rate, it gives you a lot of chances to hit a headshot. Do remember that the M4 is 800 RPM, and it just handles quite a lot differently to the AKs at 600 or 650 RPM, and it just gives you that many more chances to actually hit your target. So next up, let's look at a couple of raids using this bad boy in action. Oh, it's this one. So there was the other PMCs running out of there. And maybe we should just pit stop it down here. I hate this one too. Just deleting that poor guy, but no, anyway. Only had some kind of scope. I do actually have a quest to go and kill those guys. The animation. Oh, I hit him. Who needs a scope exactly? Exactly, who needs a scope? What's this? Coral Coulon. Alright, we don't care about that. That real player or scav player? Ran through the warehouse? Sounds like it, yeah. Ow. God damn. I think we're gonna just do this one first. Oh god. Oh no. Come on, Scabby. PFC icon became a mermaid. Genuinely horrifying. Ouch, the energy thing. Alright, okay. Goddamn partisan. What the frick is he doing here? We're just like getting out of here. We're right next to the flare, so we're just gonna leave, if possible. Holy crap. He must be right around the corner. I know, I was expecting him to be right there. But you just left click and it will cancel, but yeah, sometimes it's not that fast. This is a really bad spot to be in with partisan. Yeah, we got him. Do we go loot him? Maybe, but I need some more ammo first. I've got 5 shots. Oh no, I've literally got no energy. I know, looting in the open, I know it sucks. We either got to do it now or not at all. I'm going to start getting hurt in a second. Come on, baby. Oh god, it hurts. Tushonka in the bag. There's no time. There's no time. We just gotta go. We just gotta go. Yeah. All right, we did it. Like, is he gonna come after us? Ah, no, he probably isn't going to. I guess I killed the guy. Did he bleed out? I'm not sure if I killed him on the final burst, or whether he was really screwed. This guy, he was really screwed. Oh yes, you can't get through that because that is still bugged for some reason. And it's got two frames here, and the door is like too small. I don't know why it's like that. It's been like that for ages. They did something and it like completely screwed up the model. I don't know how. Okay. Surprise. I was as surprised as he was. Wait, he didn't have any ammo in it. Oh, no, he had the pistol out. Right. Okie dokie. See if we can get in here before I get shot. We got to kill scavs here, so may as well do it. Right, let's have a look for what's around here. I'm just going to push into here for a second. Okay. Have a little look about. Looks like, I mean, the loose loot is appalling. The USB. There's something about that. I don't think anything forms this side. Have a look at the computers. Got that guy. Any friends? Doesn't look like it. What's the guy got? I've got a good idea. Hard to know, but I'm going to try. What I'm going to try and do is like cut through at least. I think his friend's over there. This is why you can just never loot anyone. Ah, where? Oh, there. As I say though, you just can never loot anybody. Where do you think that guy is? Probably up here, maybe? He's up there somewhere. I didn't kill him, but he's up there somewhere. Looted like 5 out of 50 of my kills this fight. The other 45 are unlootable. Tri-hook on interchange kind of slaps, no lie. Yeah, it's kind of like the perfect engagement distance. Maybe I move around to here. Nade the top part. I mean, I could do. I am kind of intending to do that. Don't really know how I'm going to get close, though, without him being able to, like, just jump out. I guess I could go down. I could go behind me and down, and then come up the stairs. So there's actually somebody that way. Interestingly. We just heard them killing the scav. I think we are just going to go because I can't be bothered anymore. It's nice that you can be in here now and you don't need to basically like face plant the truck.